There comes a moment in every person's life when something deep inside begins to awaken, a quiet yet powerful realization that you were not created merely to exist, not meant to simply go through the motions, wake up, work, survive, and repeat, but that you were placed here with purpose, meaning, and an inner fire that refuses to be ignored. And even if you have spent years feeling small, invisible, or misunderstood, that fire has never gone out, it has only been waiting for the right moment to rise, and that moment is now, because everything you have gone through, every struggle, every heartbreak, every failure, every night you questioned yourself, was shaping you into someone who could handle the greatness that is meant for you, even when you didn't realize it at the time. And so many people walk through life carrying the weight of their past, letting old mistakes, lost opportunities, and painful memories define who they are. But the truth is, your past was not written to trap you. It was written to teach you, and every lesson you learned was preparing you for a future that is bigger than anything you have imagined, and you may not see it yet, but something incredible is being built inside you right now, something stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than the voice that tells you to quit. And the reason you are still here, still breathing, still searching for something more, is because your story is not finished, and you have not yet become the person you are meant to be. And that is not a weakness, it is an invitation to step into the unknown with courage, to stop waiting for the perfect time, and to start creating the life you want with the tools you have right now. Because confidence is not something you wait for, it is something you build through action, through trying, through failing, and through getting back up again when life knocks you down. And yes, it will knock you down, sometimes harder than you expect, but every time you rise again, you become more resilient, more powerful, and more certain of who you are. And this resilience is what will carry you through the storms, because storms do not come to break you, they come to show you what you are made of, and you are made of more strength than you give yourself credit for, more courage than you think you have, and more wisdom than you realize. And as you begin to trust in this inner strength, you will start to see the world differently, not as a place that is against you, but as a place that is responding to the energy you bring into it. And when you bring determination, belief, and self-respect, the world begins to reflect those qualities back to you, opening doors you never thought possible, connecting you with people who support your growth, and guiding you toward opportunities that align with your true purpose. And this alignment feels different from forcing things to happen. It feels natural, it feels right, and it feels like you are finally moving in the direction you were always meant to go. And this does not mean life will suddenly become easy, but it does mean it will become meaningful, and meaning gives you the strength to keep going even when things get hard, because when you know why you are walking a path, you can handle how difficult it is. And your why is bigger than fear, bigger than comfort, and bigger than the opinions of others. Because your why is rooted in the desire to become the best version of yourself, to live a life that feels true, and to leave a mark on the world that reflects who you really are. And that desire is sacred. It is the spark that drives innovation, courage, and transformation. And when you honor it, you begin to live with intention rather than habit, choosing actions that move you forward instead of keeping you stuck. And this forward movement, no matter how slow it feels, is what creates momentum. And momentum is what turns dreams into reality, because every small step you take builds upon the last, creating a path that did not exist before, and you are the one walking it, carving it out with every choice you make, and this means you are not powerless in your life, you are a creator, shaping your future one decision at a time, and even when you make mistakes, those mistakes are not failures, they are feedback, guiding you toward a better understanding of what works, what doesn't, and what truly matters to you. And this understanding is priceless, because it helps you refine your vision, sharpen your focus, and align your efforts with what you want to achieve, and as you become more focused, you will notice that distractions lose their power over you, that the things that once pulled you away from your goals no longer feel as tempting, because you are more committed to the life you are building than to the comfort of staying the same, and this commitment will push you to grow in ways you never expected, developing discipline, patience, and perseverance, qualities that separate those who dream from those who do, and you are not here just to dream, you are here to do, to take risks, to explore your potential, and to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever believed, and as you continue to push forward, you will encounter moments of doubt, moments when you wonder if it is all worth it, but in those moments, remember why you started. Remember the feeling of wanting more, of craving a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling, and let that feeling guide you, because it is the compass that will always point you in the right direction, even when the road is unclear, and this clarity will grow stronger the more you listen to it, helping you make choices that align with your values, your passions, and your purpose, and alignment is what creates a sense of peace, because when your actions match your inner truth, you no longer feel torn between who you are and who you think you should be, you simply are, and that authentic is powerful. It draws the right people, opportunities, and experiences into your life, because when you are true to yourself, you naturally attract what is meant for you, and this does not mean you will never face rejection or disappointment, but it does mean you will no longer be defined by them, because you will know that what is not meant for you is making room for what is, and this perspective allows you to move through life with grace, resilience, and an open heart, ready to receive the good that is on its way, and as you continue on this journey, you will begin to see how far you have come, how much you have grown, and how strong you have become, and this awareness will fill you with gratitude, not just for the successes, but for the struggles that made them possible, and this gratitude will keep you grounded, reminding you that every step, no matter how small, is part of a greater story. A story that is still being written, and you are the author, choosing with every thought, every action, and every moment of courage the direction it will take, and so choose to believe in yourself, choose to keep going, and choose to rise, because the world is waiting for the unique light that only you can bring, and the moment you decide to step into that light, everything begins to change. As you continue forward from this moment, you will begin to realize that the hardest part was never the obstacles in front of you, it was the doubt inside you, the quiet voice that tried to convince you that you were not capable, not ready, or not worthy of the life you dream about, and once you start to silence that voice, even just a little, a new voice begins to rise, a voice that speaks with confidence, clarity, and strength, reminding you that you have already survived things that once felt impossible, and if you could make it through those moments, you can make it through whatever stands in your way now, and this realization changes how you see yourself, because you stop identifying as someone who struggles and start seeing yourself as someone who overcomes. Shift is powerful, because when you see yourself as an overcomer, you stop giving your problems the power to define you, and instead you use them as fuel to become stronger, wiser, and more determined, and as this determination grows, you will notice that your goals no longer feel like distant dreams, they begin to feel like destinations you are actively moving toward, step by step, choice by choice, and even when progress feels slow, it is still progress, and slow growth is still growth, and consistency will always beat perfection, because it is better to keep moving imperfectly than to stay stuck waiting for the perfect moment. And as you keep showing up for yourself, even on the days when you feel tired or unsure, you will build a level of self-trust that cannot be shaken by setbacks, because you will know that no matter how many times you fall, you will get back up, and that is what makes you unstoppable, not the absence of failure, but the refusal to quit, and this refusal will guide you through moments when everything feels heavy, reminding you that every challenge you face is shaping you into someone who can handle greater responsibility, greater success, and greater impact, and one day you will look back at this version of yourself, the one who kept going when it was hard, and you will feel proud, because that is the version of you that made everything else possible, and this pride will not come from what you achieved, but from who you became in the process, someone brave, someone resilient, and someone who chose growth over fear, and that choice is what will continue to lead you forward, into a future that is brighter, stronger, and more powerful than anything you have left behind. As you keep moving forward on this path of becoming, something inside you begins to recognize a deeper truth, a truth that is not built on what others expect of you but on what your soul quietly knows about who you are, and this truth is that you were never created to live a life of limitation, fear, or self-doubt. You were created to grow, to expand, and to experience the fullness of your potential. And for a long time you may have felt like you were walking through life carrying invisible chains made of past mistakes, painful memories, lost opportunities, and the opinions of people who never truly understood you, and those chains made every step feel heavier than it needed to be, but now something is changing, because you are beginning to see that those chains were never as strong as you believed, that they were held together by old stories you kept telling yourself about who you are and what you deserve. And the moment you start to question those stories, their power begins to fade, and as their power fades, you start to feel a new sense of freedom, a freedom that does not come from escaping your life, but from reclaiming it, and this reclaiming starts with how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you allow yourself to dream, because when you change the way you speak to yourself, you change the way you see yourself, and when you change the way you see yourself, you change the choices you make, and those choices shape your future, and you may not be able to see the full picture yet, but every decision you make to believe in yourself, to try again, and to keep going is laying a brick in the foundation of a life that will one day feel strong, stable, and deeply fulfilling, and it is important to remember that growth is not always loud or dramatic, sometimes it happens quietly, in the moments when you choose not to give up, when you choose not to fall back into old habits, and when you choose to take one small step forward even when fear is telling you to stay where you are, and those small steps may not feel like much in the moment, but over time they create distance between who you were and who you are becoming, and that distance is what makes transformation possible. And as you continue to create this distance, you will notice that your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, and your sense of purpose becomes stronger. Because you are no longer living just to get through the day, you are living to build a life that reflects your true values, your true desires, and your true potential. And this kind of living is powerful, because it brings meaning into even the simplest moments, allowing you to find beauty in ordinary days and hope in difficult ones. And as you begin to live with this sense of meaning, you will discover that you are more resilient than you ever thought, because when your actions are connected to a deeper purpose, you can endure challenges that would have once made you quit, and this endurance will strengthen you, teaching you patience, discipline, and the ability to stay focused even when progress feels slow, and slow progress is still progress, because every moment you spend moving forward is a moment you are no longer stuck, and being stuck is what drains the spirit, not the effort it takes to grow. And as you grow, you will also become more aware of the people and environments that either support or drain your energy, and this awareness will guide you to make healthier choices about where you invest your time, your attention, and your heart, because you are learning that not everyone deserves access to your inner world, and protecting your energy is not selfish, it is necessary. And when you surround yourself with people who respect your journey and encourage your growth, you will find that it becomes easier to believe in yourself, to take risks, and to step into opportunities that once felt too intimidating. And these opportunities will not always look perfect or safe, but they will feel aligned, and alignment is what gives you the courage to move forward even when you do not have all the answers, because you trust that whatever happens, you will be able to handle it, and this trust in yourself is one of the most valuable things you can ever build, because it allows you to face uncertainty with calm rather than panic, and to see challenges as part of the journey rather than signs that you are failing. And as you continue to cultivate this trust, you will notice that your inner dialogue becomes kinder, more encouraging, and more supportive, and this inner support system will be there for you on the days when external support is lacking, reminding you that you are capable, worthy, and strong enough to keep going, and this reminder will give you the strength to rise after every fall, to learn from every mistake, and to keep moving toward the life you want to create. And one day, as you look back on this period of your life, you will realize that it was not a time of confusion or struggle, it was a time of becoming, a time when you were shedding old limitations and stepping into a greater sense of self, and that realization will fill you with gratitude for every step you took, even the difficult ones, because they all led you here, to a place of deeper understanding, greater confidence, and a stronger connection to who you truly are, and this connection will continue to guide you forward, helping you build a future that feels not only successful, but meaningful, fulfilling, and true. As you move deeper into this journey of becoming who you were always meant to be, you will begin to understand that true power does not come from controlling the world around you, it comes from mastering the world within you, because when you learn how to guide your thoughts, manage your emotions, and stay aligned with your inner truth, no external chaos can truly shake you, and this is where real confidence is born, not from what you own, not from what others say about you, but from the quiet knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to handle it, and for a long time you may have looked outside yourself for validation, waiting for someone to recognize your worth, to give you permission to feel proud of who you are, but now you are realizing that the approval you were waiting for was always meant to come from you, and the moment you give yourself that approval, shifts. Because you stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you, and you start expanding into the life that feels right for your soul, and this expansion may feel uncomfortable at first, because growth always does, but discomfort is not a sign that you are doing something wrong, it is a sign that you are stepping beyond the limits of who you used to be, and every time you choose growth over comfort, you are choosing a future that is bigger, brighter, and more aligned with your true potential. And as you continue to make these choices, you will notice that your priorities change, you become less interested in impressing people and more interested in building a life that feels authentic, peaceful, and meaningful, and this shift will bring a new level of clarity, because when you stop chasing approval, you start attracting opportunities that match who you truly are, and these opportunities will not always come with certainty, but they will come with possibility. And possibility is where all transformation begins, because it invites you to imagine a different future and then take the steps needed to make it real, and as you take those steps, even when they are small, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of creating change, and this proof builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum, and momentum will carry you forward through moments of doubt, reminding you that you are not stuck, you are in motion, and being in motion is what turns dreams into reality. And along this path you will encounter obstacles, but you will no longer see them as walls, you will see them as tests of your commitment, asking you how badly you want the life you say you desire, and every time you choose to keep going instead of giving up, you answer that question with strength, showing the world and yourself that you are serious about your growth, and one day, you will look back and realize that these moments of perseverance were the moments that truly defined you, because they were the times when you chose to believe in yourself even when it was hard, and that belief is what will continue to guide you forward, helping you build a future that is not only successful, but deeply fulfilling, peaceful, and true to who you really are. As your journey continues, you will start to notice a quiet but powerful transformation happening inside you, a shift where you no longer feel the need to prove yourself to everyone, because you are finally beginning to feel secure in who you are, and this inner security is one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself, because when you are rooted in your own worth, the opinions of others lose their power to control your emotions, and this freedom allows you to move through life with more peace, clarity, and focus, and as this focus grows, you will begin to see your goals not as distant fantasies but as real possibilities that you can work toward every single day, and even when progress feels slow, you will understand that every small effort is building something meaningful, because consistency creates results that sudden bursts of motivation never could. And this understanding will keep you grounded during moments of doubt, reminding you that real success is not about how fast you move, but there comes a time in every human life when something deep inside begins to stir, a feeling that is difficult to explain but impossible to ignore, a quiet inner voice that whispers that you were not created just to wake up, go to work, pay bills, and repeat the same cycle until life ends. You were created for something more, something meaningful, something powerful, and if you are listening to these words right now, this is not an accident. It is a sign that your awakening has already begun. Because people who are meant to stay asleep scroll past messages like this, but people who are meant to rise feel something pull them closer, and that pull you feel in your chest is your true self reminding you that the life you are living is not the life you were meant to settle for, and maybe for a long time you have felt stuck, trapped in routines, trapped in relationships, trapped in fear, or trapped in the expectations of others. And that feeling of being trapped has made you tired in a way that sleep cannot fix, because it is not your body that is exhausted, it is your soul. Your soul is tired of playing small, tired of hiding your potential, and tired of pretending that you are okay with less than you deserve, and the truth is, you have always known that there is more inside you, more creativity, more intelligence, more strength, more courage, but life, failure, and disappointment may have convinced you to doubt it. And that doubt slowly became a cage you have been living in without even realizing it. But today that cage is starting to crack, because awareness is the first step toward freedom, and now that you are aware that you were meant for more, you cannot unknow it. You cannot go back to pretending that you are satisfied with a small life, because once a seed of greatness is planted inside you, it will not stop growing, no matter how hard you try to ignore it. And this growth may feel uncomfortable, because it will force you to question everything you once accepted, the way you think, the way you work, the way you choose people, and the way you treat yourself. But this discomfort is not here to hurt you, it is here to wake you up, because comfort is the enemy of transformation, and if you want a different life, you must be willing to become a different person, and that is exactly what is beginning right now, in this moment, as you listen, as you reflect, and as you feel something shift inside you. And this shift is the beginning of your rise, the beginning of the moment when you stop living on autopilot and start living with intention, and even if you do not yet know exactly what your future will look like, you can feel that it will not look like your past, and that alone is powerful, because when the future feels bigger than the past, hope is born, and hope is the spark that ignites all change. At some point in your life you begin to realize that the hardest prison you have ever lived in was never built with walls or bars, and becoming stronger, your actions will slowly begin to reflect that belief, and even if you do not fully believe it at first, repetition creates reality, and the more you choose empowering thoughts, the more natural they become, and as your inner dialogue changes, so does the way you show up in the world. You begin to stand taller, speak with more confidence, and take chances you would have avoided before, not because fear is gone, but because fear no longer controls you, and this is one of the most important shifts you will ever experience, because when fear stops being the boss of your life, your potential finally gets a chance to lead, and this potential has been waiting patiently for you to claim it. Through every failure, every disappointment, and every moment you felt invisible, it was still there, ready to rise the moment you decided that you deserved more, and now that you are deciding that, you will start to feel a deeper sense of purpose, because you are no longer just trying to survive, you are trying to become, and becoming is one of the most meaningful things a human being can do, because it connects you to your highest self, the version of you that is not limited by past mistakes or other people's opinions, and this version of you will guide you forward, helping you make choices that align with your dreams rather than your fears, and even when the road ahead feels uncertain, you will trust yourself more than you ever have before, because you know that you are no longer living as a victim of your past, but as the creator of your future, and this identity shift is what will carry you through the next stages of your journey, giving you the strength to keep going, the courage to keep growing, and the belief that your best days are not behind you, they are ahead of you. You begin to feel something that may have been missing for a very long time, a sense of inner authority, a knowing that you are no longer here just to react to life but to direct it, and this shift changes the way you walk, the way you speak, and the way you make decisions, because when you step into your power, you stop waiting for permission to live the life you want, and you start giving that permission to yourself. And this self-permission is one of the most radical and life-changing things a person can do, because most people spend their entire lives waiting for someone else to approve of their dreams, their voice, and their worth, but you are learning that no one outside of you can ever validate what you already are inside, and once you truly accept this, you become less afraid of being judged, because you know that judgment only has power over someone who doubts themselves, and you are no longer that person. And this new confidence does not make you arrogant, it makes you grounded, because it comes from self-respect, not ego, and self-respect allows you to set boundaries, to walk away from what does not serve you, and to commit fully to what does, and as you begin to live this way, you will notice that your energy changes, people will respond to you differently, opportunities will start to appear, and this is not magic, it is alignment, because when you start honoring yourself, the world starts honoring you too, and even though there will still be moments of uncertainty, you will face them with a steady heart, knowing that you do not need to have everything figured out to move forward, you just need to trust that every step you take with intention is leading you somewhere better than where you were before, and this trust will give you the courage to take bigger risks, to speak your truth more boldly, and to pursue goals that once felt impossible, and as you do this, you will realize that your power was never something you had to find, it was something you had to remember, and now that you are remembering it, nothing will be able to stop the version of you that is rising, because you are no longer living from fear, you are living from purpose, and that makes all the difference. Something remarkable starts to take shape inside you, a quiet but unbreakable strength that does not depend on circumstances, on praise, or on comfort. It is the strength that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for, and this kind of strength cannot be shaken by failure, because you no longer see failure as the end, you see it as feedback, as a lesson, as a stepping stone on the road to becoming who you are meant to be, and this shift changes the way you move through the world. Because you stop being afraid of trying and start being afraid of staying the same, and that fear of staying small becomes more powerful than the fear of failing, pushing you to take action even when your hands are shaking, and every time you take action despite fear, you build confidence, not the fake kind that comes from pretending, but the real kind that comes from proving to yourself that you are capable. And as this confidence grows, so does your resilience, because you begin to understand that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will always have the ability to rise again, and this ability is what makes you unstoppable, not because you never struggle, but because you never quit, and quitting is the only thing that truly ends a dream. And you are no longer someone who gives up on yourself, you are someone who stays, who fights, who believes, and who keeps going, even when the path is long and the results are slow. And this loyalty to yourself is one of the greatest acts of self-love you will ever practice, because it tells the universe that you are serious about the life you want to build, and when you show that level of commitment, life begins to meet you halfway, opening doors, creating connections, and presenting opportunities that you could not have accessed when you were living in doubt, and as you walk through those doors, you will see that the world is bigger than the limitations you once believed in, and your place in it is far more important than you ever imagined, and this realization will keep you moving forward, driven not by desperation, but by purpose, and that purpose will continue to guide you, reminding you that you are here not just to exist, but to grow, to contribute, and to leave something meaningful behind, and that is what makes your journey powerful, because it is not just about what you achieve, it is about who you become along the way. There comes a powerful point in every transformation when you stop thinking of change as something you are trying to do and begin to feel it as something you are becoming, and this is where everything truly shifts, because you no longer wake up asking whether you have the strength to keep going, you wake up knowing that you do, even if the path is unclear, even if the future is uncertain. Because something inside you has already decided that going back to the old version of yourself is no longer an option, and that decision is more important than any motivation, because motivation fades but decision creates destiny, and once you decide that you are done living beneath your potential, the world has no choice but to respond to the energy of your commitment, and as this commitment grows, you will notice that you are not as easily shaken by problems as you used to be, because you no longer see them as threats to your identity, you see them as challenges to your strength, and challenges are invitations to rise, and every time you rise, you leave another piece of your old self behind, the self that was afraid, hesitant, and unsure, and in its place you build a version of you that is more grounded, more confident, and more connected to your purpose, and this purpose is not something that exists outside of you, it is something that is awakened within you when you start listening to what truly matters to your heart, because deep down you have always known what kind of life you want, even if you were to say it out loud. And now you are finally giving yourself permission to want more, not more money, not more status, but more meaning, more growth, and more alignment with who you really are, and this desire will guide your actions, helping you make choices that serve your long-term vision rather than your short-term comfort, and this is one of the most difficult but rewarding shifts you will ever make. Because comfort keeps you safe, but vision makes you powerful, and power is not about controlling others, it is about mastering yourself, and as you master yourself, you become someone who is not easily distracted, not easily discouraged, and not easily pulled off course by the noise of the world, and this inner stability allows you to move forward with calm confidence, knowing that even if everything does not work out the way you planned, you will still find a way to grow through it, and this growth mindset is what separates people who evolve from people who stay stuck, because when you see every experience as a chance to learn, you are never truly failing, you are always becoming more prepared for what comes next, and this preparation will show up in the way you think, speak, and act. Because you begin to carry yourself with a quiet assurance that tells the world you are serious about your journey, and people will feel that, even if they cannot explain it, they will sense that you are no longer someone who is just drifting through life, you are someone who is moving with intention, and intention creates momentum, and momentum creates progress, and progress creates belief, and belief is what turns dreams into reality. And as this cycle continues, you will notice that the things that once seemed impossible now feel within reach, not because they suddenly became easy, but because you became stronger, and this strength is not just physical or mental, it is emotional and spiritual. It is the strength that comes from knowing who you are and where you are going, and with this strength you will face challenges with grace instead of panic, because you trust yourself enough to know that you can handle whatever comes, and this trust is the foundation of true confidence, because it means you do not need constant reassurance from the world, you have reassurance from within, and that inner reassurance will be there for you on the days when nothing else seems to be going right, reminding you that even in chaos, you are still on your path, and that path is leading you somewhere meaningful, even if you cannot see it yet. And as you continue to walk it, you will find that your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your sense of purpose becomes stronger, because you are no longer living in contradiction with who you are meant to be, you are living in alignment with your highest self, and this alignment is what brings peace, not the absence of problems, but the presence of meaning, and when your life has meaning, every challenge becomes a chapter in a larger story, a story of growth, resilience, and transformation, and that story is being written by you, every day, with every choice you make to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep becoming the person you know you were born to be. As you reach this stage of your journey, you begin to understand something that most people never stop long enough to realize, that your life is not just about what you get, it is about what you give, not just about what you achieve, but about who you become and how you impact the people around you, and this awareness shifts the way you look at your goals, because you no longer want success just for yourself. You want a life that leaves something meaningful behind, something that says you were here and that your presence made a difference, and this desire to create impact is one of the highest expressions of human purpose, because when you live for something bigger than your own comfort, your life takes on a deeper sense of meaning, and this meaning gives you strength during difficult times, because you know that even when things are hard, your efforts are serving a greater story, and as you continue to grow into this understanding, you will notice that the way you treat others changes, you become more patient, more compassionate, and more present, because you realize that every person you meet is fighting their own invisible battles, just like you once did, and when you choose kindness instead of judgment, you become a source of light in a world that often feels dark, and that light does not just change others, it changes you too, because giving love, encouragement, and support strengthens your own spirit, reminding you that you are connected to something much larger than your own struggles, and this connection will guide you through moments of doubt, helping you see that your journey is not just about reaching a destination, it is about becoming a person who lives with integrity, purpose, and heart, and as you continue to live this way, you will find that your influence grows naturally, not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because people are drawn to authenticity, to someone who is genuinely committed to their growth and to the well-being of others, and this influence becomes part of your legacy, a legacy that is not measured in wealth or titles, but in the lives you touch, the hope you inspire, and the courage you awaken in those who see you rise, and one day, when you look back on everything you have been through, you will see that every struggle, every failure, And every moment of doubt was shaping you into someone strong enough to carry that legacy forward, and this realization will fill you with gratitude, not just for the easy moments, but for the hard ones too, because they taught you what truly matters. And now, as you continue walking this path with intention and courage, you are not just living a life, you are building a legacy, one that will continue to ripple outward long after you have moved on to the next chapter. And that is the true measure of a life well lived. As you move forward from everything you have learned and become, you begin to realize that the future is no longer something you are afraid of, it is something you are preparing for with intention, discipline, and belief, because you now understand that every small action you take today is shaping the life you will live tomorrow, and this awareness gives even the simplest choices great power: the choice to wake up and try again, the choice to speak kindly to yourself, the choice to keep working toward your dreams even when no one is watching. And these quiet choices are what build extraordinary lives, not loud moments of luck, and as you continue making them, you will feel a deep sense of trust growing inside you, a trust that tells you that no matter what challenges come, you will meet them with strength rather than fear, because you are no longer defined by what happens to you, you are defined by how you respond. And this understanding gives you freedom, the freedom to take risks, to explore new paths, and to step into opportunities without being paralyzed by the need for everything to be perfect. And as you embrace this freedom, you will discover that growth is not something that happens all at once, it happens in layers, with each experience teaching you something new about yourself and the world, and these lessons will continue to refine you, making you wiser, more patient, and more aligned with your true purpose. And as this alignment deepens, you will feel a sense of peace that is not dependent on circumstances, a peace that comes from knowing you are living in harmony with who you truly are, and this peace will give you the clarity to see what truly matters, helping you focus your energy on what brings meaning, joy, and connection into your life. And one day, when you look back at how far you have come, you will realize that the journey itself was the reward, because every step you took, every fear you faced, and every limit you broke was shaping you into